Good evening, everybody. My name is Adam and I'm from Ambigo. And this is the Brighton Hove Hope Exchange. And so what this is all about is giving you out there the opportunity in Brighton and Hove to express your personal goals, ideas and ambitions. And then other people across the city are invited to get in touch and offer you contacts, information, advice, and any other kind of support that might help you a bit closer to what you want to do. So what we normally do is in-person events, and for the last few weeks during lockdown, we've transferred our in-person physical events online. And what happens is we hear from up to 6 people who share their own goals, ideas and ambitions, and then other people get in touch and offer them ways that they can move forwards with what it is they want to do. So I'm here, and over in 5 ways, we've got Andy, who's in front of the wall of ambitions. Andy.
Hi. Everybody, it's lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us this evening. Beautiful sunshiny Friday, and here I am, as Adam has said. I stayed in Brighton, unlike certain people who absconded.
Yeah, no, full disclosure there. I'm actually up in Burton-on-Trent, keeping an eye on the parents during all of this. So anyhow, we are very fortunate to be able to do these events, and that's because we get support from the Co-op, and the Co-op run a scheme called the Local Community Fund. And so we're ever so grateful to them. And so we thought tonight it's a good opportunity to bring somebody in who can put their Co-op hat on and talk a little bit about what they do and what their role is in Brighton and Hove, linking up all sorts of people doing good in the community. So let me introduce to you Julia. Good evening, Julia.
Hello there, hiya.
Hi.
How are you doing, Julia?
Yeah, can you see me okay?
Yeah, we've got you.
yeah, hello. Yeah, no, my role with the Co-op is called Member Pioneer. Did you want me to go ahead and describe that,
yeah, please do.
Adam? Yeah, well, it's basically, I suppose you could say it's a role as go-between between the local community fund, which Adam has already mentioned, and the community at large, and in particular causes and charities locally. So the idea being that that people can access that money that is available from the Co-op and can apply once a year. There's an opportunity, a window open, if you like, to apply for that funding. And my role, I suppose, is about linking the community with the charitable works that the Co-op do. It's my role is a very local one. I work solely in Brighton, in particular in Kemp Town, but I do cover a much bigger area than that now. It's just recently changed, and I'm covering as far out as North Street, Whitehawk, and Seven Dials, and anyway, generally you can in Brighton, generally the Co-ops and so on. So that's basically what I'm doing, is linking local Co-op stores with the community.
And you're tremendously well connected. Basically, if there's a community event going on in Brighton and Hove, then Julia's probably there and probably doing a raffle as well. So we really appreciated all the work you've done throughout the community, linking people together and helping organisations raise funds as well and that kind of thing. So you're going to be chipping in every now and again to offer any kind of advice or contacts that you see that you might be able to give to somebody to help them. So we'll speak to you a bit later on, Julia.
Sure. Okay. Speaks.
So we've got a bit of a delay there, as you can tell, with Julia, but she's going to be coming and popping in with a bit of help here and there for the people coming up. So we're going to go to Andrea in a second, who is ready and waiting to be our first participant of the evening. And what I want to say before that is that we want you to be able to get in touch if you can offer any kind of contacts, advice, information, or any other kind of support to the people that are going to be on tonight sharing their goals, ideas and ambitions. And there are 3 ways you can do that. You can either leave a message underneath the Facebook live video that you're watching, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment there, or you can click on the link that accompanies this video and you'll be able to actually join us in this video broadcast, or you can send a message to the number that's about to go across the bottom of your screen on WhatsApp, and Agatha is waiting to deal with your messages there. So let's go to Andrea. Let's go to our first person who's going to share with us this evening their goal, idea or ambition. Evening, Andrea. How are you?
Hi, Adam. Hi, everyone else that's listening. Nice to see you.
And you as well. So go ahead. Tell us, what is your goal or ambition?
So my goal, I'm working with a bunch of other people, and what we've set up is a housing co-op for essentially LGBTQ key workers and carers. We're trying to build a network of mutual support over in Hove, in what we're calling a queer square mile. So we're trying to build a network of people, some of those people already living in that area, but we want to make it a mixed community so that people who can't afford to generally live in Brighton and Hove securely, like low-income care workers and healthcare professionals as well, can afford to live in the same square mile with us. So we set up this housing co-op basically for affordable homes for key workers, really. So for those of us who aren't familiar with co-ops, how does being in a co-op make it more affordable? So the way we try and being in a co-op makes it more affordable in the sense that you all collectively own the property that you buy, and so you manage all the finances of it. So you've not got someone else kind of taking a layer of profit out of it, either a developer or a kind of landlord. You are both tenant and landlord at the same time, so you have control, but you also have responsibility. It is really hard to make co-ops stack up financially in Brighton and Hove at the moment because property prices are so high. But one of the ways we've worked out we can do it is if we get loans to buy the property at an interest rate of around 2%, that makes it more affordable. Mm-hmm. So commercial mortgages generally are about 4.5% for a co-op buying a property. The loans are. That just makes it unviable for affordable rents. The rents would have to be too high for most of our members, especially the key worker members. So we're trying to basically raise loan stock. What co-ops raise is loan stock. We're trying to get loans from people who support the idea of this and get people to lend it to us, minimum of 5 years, for 2% interest per annum. Okay. So how far along are you with this project? Well, we haven't got a property yet. We have a couple of sympathetic owners who are willing to sell to us. So we've been doing this for a few years now, trying to build up to it. And it's only this year that we're about to buy a property. So we've been trying to build an organisation and network together, and build membership and stuff like that. So we are quite far. It's not a brand new idea, but it is the first time we're actually trying to buy something this year. How exciting. So what's actually driven you to do this? What's given you the motivation that's made you want to throw yourself wholeheartedly into this project? Yeah, for me, it's interesting. I think there's a mixture of people in our group. It's a kind of an intergenerational concept as well. So for me, I'm a bit older. I'm in my late 50s. And what I've always wanted to do is live in my later life. I want a kind of happy, networked, mutually supportive network of people around me that I kind of share certain values with. There's an issue around LGBT people getting older, and the support services may not actually really fit a kind of queer identity. So there's nothing out there. There's no LGBTQ housing out there. There's no LGBTQ residential homes. There's nothing like that. Sheltered housing doesn't. I mean, obviously, some of those schemes are open for people that are LGBTQ, but there's nothing like designed by queer people for queer people. There's one housing co-op in Brighton called Rosa Bridge, which a lot of younger queer folk live in, and that's given us a lot of inspiration. But we saw, so my personal sort of interest in it is to kind of create a kind of sustainable and affordable and mutually supportive kind of community for later life. Lovely. And one where we can have a bit of fun together as well, Yeah. So what would help you achieve this? What help do you need to actually take that next step to get this property bought and ready to live in? Yeah, so we really need people who like the idea of it. We need two things. We need people who like the idea of it, who may have like savings, for example, even if they're relatively small amounts of savings, to invest in us. It's an ethical investment. We're looking for lenders to lend to us at 2% per annum. The minimum time we need is around 5 years. So we're really looking for people who might actually just think, well, I'm getting nothing in the bank for my money, or I've got it in an ISA, but I don't know where that's invested, or, whatever they might have their money invested in, to think about if they like the idea of this project and building communities like this, to lend us money. It's kind of legally binding contract when you lend to a housing co-op. I'm sure Julia could explain it. Loan stock is a legally recognised contract. So you're lending is on a fixed term. We pay it back at the end of the term. 2% interest can be paid annually or at the end. We're looking for people who like the idea of it and want to see a fairer housing system, especially for kind of key workers, to lend us some money.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to just make the little call out again to the people watching that if you want to get involved with this or you think you can help in some way, then you can get in touch in 3 ways. You can either leave a message underneath the Facebook Live video, you can click on the link that accompanies this video and join us here in the broadcast, or you can send a message on WhatsApp to Agatha on the number that's right there at the bottom of your screen. So Andrea, we actually have several thousand people that these videos reach, these broadcasts reach. So let's hope that there's somebody out there who can offer some support or wants to get on board and actually go on this ride with you.
Yeah,
so
we're open to new membership.
Sorry, say that again.
We're open to new membership as well. So if people want to live in a supportive LGBT community in a queer square mile in Hove, then we're also looking for new members. So that's also important. How
can they find out more? Is there somewhere online they can go?
We've got a website. It's www.ccitycoop with a hyphen.org.
So that's C as in
the seaside, because it's Brighton. Yeah, www.c as in the seaside citycoop.org. Yeah, you'll find that contact information there and see what we're doing and see who we are a bit.
Tremendous. All right, thanks for being so clear and concise. And I'm going to throw you over to Andy now, who's been jotting all of that down, and he'll ask you any more questions that he needs to ask to get the accurate information. Over to you, Andy.
Thanks, Adam.
Andrea, hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, surprisingly good in these really weird times.
It's nice to see you again.
Yeah,
my apologies for you not seeing me. This part of the show, we say show, I suppose it's a show. This part of the show, I am the disembodied voice that accompanies the written note. We call these ambition calling cards, and you'll see what we do with these in a moment. But my task here is to check in with you to make sure that what I've written is, significantly, that I've actually caught what you're saying, that I haven't misunderstood or missed anything significant. So if it's all right with you, let me go through it.
Cool.
Here we go. So your ambition is you are currently building a network of people in Hove towards a housing co-op for LGBTQ plus key workers, you were saying, or people who are in that kind of community. And there's other elements to there. You talked about slightly older, slightly more mature, slightly more experienced. I don't know what the right phrase is. I don't know how to be PC with that. But given you and I are pretty much the same sort of age, it's our age group, I suppose. Let's see. And just to explain, we've got a collective purchase using loans at low rate. And that's where you guys are banding together. You have members, and you may have found a property or two, something that you can actually get going. In terms of the call for help, you mentioned 2 things. At least I think I heard 2 things. One, that you are looking for investors. Those are people who are happy to loan money into the housing co-op as a loan stock agreement. So there's a nice legal recognized format there, which would be at 2% per annum for a minimum of 5 years. Presumably you'd be happy for longer if possible.
Yep.
That's grand. And you've also said that the membership is open, that if someone else is in the LGBT community who would like the understanding, the familiarity, the camaraderie of that extra knowing of what it is to be a member of that community, to have those attitudes and value sets and so on that you have there. I don't know the right phrase of saying that. Who would like to join in this lovely little queer square mile that you've said in Hove, then come and join you. That's what I've heard there. Has that summed it up about right? Yeah,
that's fine. I mean, we're actually intergeneration. Most of us at the moment are in later life, I would say. That's how we sort of say it. But we are interested we're trying to build an intergenerational community. So, there's an age range at the moment from 60s to 40s, but we are looking to interest younger people as well. So,
lovely.
But that's pretty much right. Yeah, Andy, it's great. Great summary.
There we go. I put the word intergenerational there, and I put a smiley face next to it. Let's see. What I'm going to do now, bear with me, is I'm going to change cameras. And of course, to do that, I have to press the right button rather than just switch my camera off, which is what I managed to do. Hey, Andrea, this is me. It's nice to see you again. Okay, for your benefit and everyone else who's watching, it's nice that you've joined us. I'm standing in front of the amazing Ambigo Wall of Ambition. Wall of Ambition. It stands about 7, maybe 7.5 foot tall. It's wider than the camera field. And normally we take this wall out into the public. We stand there on street corners or in fetes and fairs and community activities, and we take ambitions such as the one that Andrea has just shared with us. And we normally invite people to write their own. Sadly, you can't come and hang out with us for this because of this lockdown thing. So I'm here scribing things as best I can. And we take these ambitions and we plant them on the wall. Now, what happens here is we lure people. Actually, we don't. We just stand back and let people have a nose. And generally speaking, when we get a lot of ambitions up here, people generally pop up, have a little read. And as Adam has said, they'll often leave a comment. It's actually quite nice in the first place to be nosy about what people are interested in, what they're doing, what sort of things they might like to achieve, some of the passions in their life and so on. It's a lovely way of getting to know people. And in that, we invite people to grab a post-it note. I have a selection here, and respond. What we look for, actually we look for any comment really, but what we find is we tend to get 3 types of comments. The first type is tips and advice, something that maybe Andrea doesn't know. And actually, having spoken with her, it sounds like she's pretty knowledgeable, but comment anyway, because you never know. There's always something, we can always learn something, and it may be that you know something. You've taken a group through and you bought a home and so on, and there's a key tip there that is going to save these guys a lot of pain. Hey, it might be really useful. The second comment tends to be, I know somebody who can actually help. So if you do know somebody who's sympathetic, who's enthusiastic, who likes this idea, and is looking for a way of securing some sort of income off of their funds, which is better than the bank rates at the moment, knowing that they will be invested into bricks and mortar, so there's a nice solid lump of stuff behind it, plus this group of worthy people who will be backing it up through earning their money and paying and servicing the loan, then if you know somebody, get them to get in touch. Or if you think it's okay with them, get us to get in touch with them. Or rather, give us the information, we'll pass it on to Andrea, and I promise you she will be lovely about it, I'm sure, and basically say, hey, would that be all right? And of course, the third type of comment is if you like the idea and think you'd like to go along. And this is the second call for help that Andrew's put in there. If you identify as part of the queer square mile and would like to join in this, then I, as we have heard, know that Andrew would love to hear from you and would love to kind of bring you in, have a chat, see whether you fit in, get to know you anyway, because it's nice to get to know people, and maybe you too can join in this ambition. Andrea, that's what this is about. Sadly, we can't stand on street corners, normally armed with incredible amounts of snacks, often sourced from the local co-op. Thank you, co-op. Cupcakes and other delicious stuff. So here we are standing on a virtual, digital street corner in all of the groups and so on, which kind of hopefully are watching us. Plus, this show will be available after the live event for other people to browse. Now, at this point, I normally say, Adam, come and join us, please, because I want to ask you a question. If someone is interested and inspired by this ambition, how could they get in touch with us?
3 ways. First way, comment on the Facebook Live video. Second, click on the link that's right next to this video, which will bring you into this broadcast. Or third way is to send a message to Agatha on WhatsApp on the phone number at the bottom of your screen. So we're going to go back to Andy in a little while. But first of all, Andrea, Julia has got a comment that she'd like to share. Julia, just a little idea that Andrea might have already thought of, but she's sharing anyway. Go ahead, Julia.
Yeah, hello there. Hi, just wanted to say that I don't know if you know of the Rainbow Fund and the Rainbow Hub.
I have heard about
in Brighton. Is that an organisation? Yeah, sorry, I don't hear you very well. I don't know if my microphone is a bit rubbish, but I hear you terribly well. But just to say, sorry?
We can hear you loud and clear. You just can't hear us very well.
Good. All right. No, that's good. No, just to say that I wondered if they might be a good source of both possible members and also of investors, because I know they have quite a large supporter network throughout Brighton from the LGBTQ plus community, and they have been a cause that we've supported both currently and in the past. So I know a few contacts there, if that's helpful.
That would be really great.
So as I said, they may be useful to you both ways. The other thing I was thinking, I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate, but I do know that, are you aware of One Church, of the church in Brighton called One Church?
Yeah, down on the Steam.
Yes, in fact, they have two churches. They have one at Florence Road and one there on Gloucester Place. So they're rather oddly called One Church, but actually they have two, if it makes any sense. But they are presently involved in putting together a community housing project. I don't know if it's quite the same as a co-op, but I was just thinking that they might have some advice about how to go about things and some useful ideas about how to operate. I don't know if they're going to be a use to you, but it might be another source of information if that might be helpful.
Right. Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you, Julia. Yeah. Any contacts you have?
You're welcome.
Great.
Thank you. That's fantastic. Well, it's great to hear that there may be a connection or two possible there, and we know that we've got Kate, who's with us as well. She's watching. She's part of the Sea City Co-op alongside you too. So I was going to ask you a quick favour as well, Andrea, because what we do for each of the participants on our online events is we actually create social media posts as well about them. So it would be useful if you shared the link to Sea City Cooperative on the Facebook Live video now, so that the people watching now can take a look as well. And also it would be available for us to post when we do the social media post about it as well, and try and garner some more support.
Okay, we'll do that.
Lovely. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before you go?
No, just hope everyone's doing all right. It's Friday night. Happy Friday night to everyone.
Lovely. All right. Thanks a lot, Andrea. Much appreciated. And I'll be back in touch soon, if and hopefully when we get some more support for you, and when we put your Ambitions of Brighton social media post out as well.
Great. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Andrea. Ta-ta. Right. That's the first participant down. We've got several more to come. And our next one, I believe, is Brian, and he's ready and waiting for us. He's over in East Brighton. Now, I can see a little screen here. I can see his camera, what he's showing, but I can't see him. So I need Brian to just step in front of the camera and give me a wave to make sure that he's ready and waiting. Otherwise, we'll cross over to an empty room. So he's not waving at me yet. So I'm going to bring Andy in first, and I'm going to ask Andy if he can do the job I normally do, which is share the ways that you can get in touch if you can help Andrea or any of the participants to come. Andy.
Hello, everybody again. Thanks for joining us. And for those people who've just joined, welcome to what we call the Brighton Hove Hope Exchange. Well, we are Ambigo. Ambigo normally goes out into the streets. We hang around on street corners and social places and so on. And we invite people to share their ambitions, their projects, their dreams, something they'd really like to do, and to share it on a public wall. I stand in front of our wall of ambitions, and then we just be there in a very friendly way that allow others to see what ambitions are there and maybe comment, say a few positive words, maybe if you want, join in and so on. Now, there's several ways that you can do that now in this digital world, because sadly we can't be there with you in real life. We'd like to be. We'd like to, you know, kind of say hi, shake hands, give you a hug, whatever. But sadly we can't. But you can do it by typing a message underneath this very stream. Best if you do that on our Facebook page. That's the Ambigo Facebook page, because we'll see that direct. The other ones, if you put it somewhere else, it takes a while, maybe a day or so for us to find out what's there. So go to the Ambigo page on Facebook, find the image which you're watching now, and put in a comment, and we'll happily get that comment transcribed and put on the ambitions. You can also follow the link that's right next to that very stream and jump in, and we'll talk to you live. It'll be lovely to see you. It'll be lovely to speak with you right now. We'll do a virtual shaking of hands. And you can contact the wonderful Agatha on WhatsApp. And you can contact her by dialing the number that is going to scroll along the bottom of this screen any moment now. She's waiting to respond to your messages, and she'll get those through to us, and we'll happily respond to those as well. The number there is 07488 912 331. Adam, is Brian with us?
Not quite yet. So he's just informed me that his internet connection is so poor that it keeps on cutting out. So he's going to try using his mobile phone. So he's going to pop up any moment now. But before we get Brian involved, I would like to just share a little success story. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? So a success story of a participant who's previously come on one of our online events and has shared their goal, idea, or ambition, and has got the support that they were looking for. So I'm going to do a nifty little thing now where I share my screen, and you'll be able to have a look at the person we're talking about. And it's a chap called Christian. So Christian is somebody who wanted to do something around becoming a cameraman, because he wanted to get some training to be a cameraman, because he wanted to be able to film Hollywood films in the future and TV and all sorts of things. And so as you can see here, he came on to our online event and he said, is there anybody out there who can offer me some training, or who can perhaps just let me have a go? And he's already got some experience under his belt in local TV, because he's been with the local TV station called Latest TV, and he's been doing their disability What's On guides. But now he's gone, actually, I want to get a chance behind the camera. So post-lockdown, he wanted to get some experience. And he sent us a message a week or so ago saying, well, you know what? A TV company has reached out after the show and after the post you made about me on social media. And they've said, we'd like to take you on and let you have a go once lockdown's over. So good luck to Christian, and really hope that that pays off. He's a good friend of ours, Christian. He's somebody who we've known for quite a while. So we're really happy to see that one. Now, I can see Brian popping up and down, so he's still trying to get the internet working there. So let's have a look at one of the written ambitions we have. How about that? Let's start with somebody who's called Andy. If you can cope with that, Andy. So another Andy has said that he wants to fix people's computers. That's his ambition. Okay. Now, he wants to help people who have become dependent on their computers now that they're working from home. How many of us during this lockdown are now working on home, and our livelihoods depend on our computers now? So he says that he used to be a computer engineer, and he has a few friends who have recently been asking him to repair broken or misbehaving machines. And he says, with so many of us relying on digital technology to work from home and or stay in touch with loved ones, I'm guessing there's a need. And I think he's probably right. So this is a very selfless ambition. So in terms of what would help him to achieve this, he wants people, maybe you, to reach out if you need your computer fixed. And he will do that on a donation basis based on your personal circumstances. So if you needed replacement parts, then you'd need to pay for them, of course. But otherwise, he's not demanding any set fee. So he wants to fix people's computers, especially during this difficult period, and he's willing to do it on a donations basis. So a very selfless, very kind ambition. And my parents this moment actually are really struggling with their computer. So they would have appreciated his support, I'm sure, if they were in his area. But if you're in Brighton and Hove and need your computer fixing, or you know somebody that does, get in touch with us and we'll connect you with Andy, who's saying that his ambition is to fix your computer for you on a donation basis. Have you got all the information you need, Andy?
I believe so. I should just repeat back to you what I think I've heard. Andy, hello. If you're watching, it's lovely to be able to put your ambition up here. Thank you for getting in touch. Your ambition, as we understand it, is you want to fix people's computers. I assume because you enjoy it and you feel pretty good at it. Especially those who are now dependent on them whilst we're in lockdown. So it's an understandable need there. And you're willing to do so on a what's often called a pay what you can or a donation basis, plus the cost of parts if they're needed, of course. But so you're actually saying that you're prepared to go and help someone repair their computer for free if they can't pay you. Thank you. I think with lots of people around there, there may be many who've become dependent on their computer, where that kind of help and not knowing where to go could be really useful. So your call for help is fairly straightforward. It's just reach out and ask me, meaning you, for help if you need it. And of course, I'll add to that, if you know somebody who is dependent on their computer and getting really frustrated, and actually I know someone who is, so I shall be making that connection as well, then get them to get in touch. Yeah, Andy, thank you very much. Let me put this up on the wall of ambition, and we'll get our virtual passers-by to have a little read of that and maybe add a comment there. It may be that they too would like to join in this kind of upswell of helping others cope with this new way of having to live, especially those of us who are not used to computers. Thank you, Andy.
Well, we have somebody who is a virtual passerby in Julia. So I'm going to bring in Julia in just a moment because she's popped up again on my little messaging thing saying, I've got a couple of ideas. So let's bring in Julia, and Andy, you can be on hand to note down her suggestions. So what are your ideas, Julia?
Yeah, hi. No, I was just thinking that if he wants to advertise his services, he could maybe put together a small poster, just an A4 sized thing, which would be quite simple to do, and just ask in the co-op stores if he could put that notice on the notice board in there. But also, I was thinking perhaps in food banks or other hubs where maybe people who are financially vulnerable certainly might gather, and perhaps they would be in need of his services, and they could see his offer of help there.
They're great ideas. Computers for so many different reasons now as well, and with people being furloughed or losing their jobs as well, people are having to do so much online to try and get universal credit and that kind of thing too. And if you don't have a functioning computer, that makes life quite miserable for a lot of people. So thank you, Julia. We've got Andy who's noted those down and he's put them on post-it notes. So we'll come back to you in a bit, Julia, for any more wisdom that you can impart, which will be gratefully received. Andy, have you managed to get those down?
Yeah, Julia, that's a great idea, and it makes a great deal of sense. And of course, if you have regular contact with a food bank or one of the other locations that Julia's mentioning, then maybe if you could possibly offer that we'll get Andy to get in touch, and maybe he can get that advert to you so you can put it there on his behalf and reduce the amount of physical contacting everyone has to do. Brilliant idea, Julia. Thank you very much for that.
And talking of food banks and supplying food to people who need it at the moment, that's what Brian has been hoping to talk about. And yes. He's popping up and down at the bottom of our screen, but the technology is just not working for him.
Oh dear.
That connection's giving him.
Do you think he needs Andy?
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm just looking at a message you sent me earlier because I wanted to at least, if we aren't able to get Brian on this evening, I wanted to share what he's doing. So he set up a food community, which was supposed to launch in mid-June time. And he says that he's now preparing well over 1,000 meals every day for people in East Brighton, which is pretty sensational. And he's been recognized already. So today, or yesterday rather, he's received a certificate. It's a Gold Champion Community Award from the Mayor, Alexandra Phillips. So he sent some photos through of that. And it's such a shame if we can't get Brian on this evening. If we can't this evening because his internet won't work, hopefully we can try again next week, because he was looking for support to help that grow, help people help out with making the food. And perhaps if they are looking to make this an established thing, because I think his original goal was to start an actual food bank somewhere in East Brighton, then maybe that was something that people could offer support for. But you know, who knows? He might pop up. He might have a better internet connection shortly, and we'll be able to go to him. So let's go to another one of our written ambitions. So Andy, are you just noting that down there?
Yes, I'll modify this when Brian joins us. Brian, I look forward to chatting with you. Okay, you got another contribution from someone else?
I do. So this one is from Bill. I really like this one.
Hi,
so
Bill
has said that his ambition is to help residents in an assisted living accommodation to grow vegetables. So he's looking to help the people living at Silver Birches, which is on Preston Road in Brighton, in that assisted living accommodation. Yeah, it's something I'm thinking about more and more doing as well, growing my own veg at home. So anyway, his problem is that the garden there is on a tennis court. Not useful because there's only 4 to 6 inches depth of soil. So he's looking for anybody who could donate a greenhouse. They haven't got any money for raised beds, but he's hopeful that having a greenhouse at least would enable the residents to grow their own food, which would help bring them together. So does anybody out there have a greenhouse that they could donate or know where Bill could get one? So if you do, while Andy notes all of this down, I'll share the 3 ways you can get in touch to offer any support you can. So you can leave a message underneath the Facebook Live video that you're watching, or you can click on the link that you'll see that accompanies this video, and you will join us right here in this video broadcast, and we can bring you in when you're ready. And you can also send a message to Agatha on the WhatsApp number right there at the bottom of your screen. Was that nice and clear, Andy?
It was. Do we know from Bill what size greenhouse, or maybe many greenhouses? Maybe that's something that can come up in the conversation. Bill, thank you very much for that ambition. I have attempted to capture this, so I shall read it through again. That you would like to help the residents at Silver Birches, which is an assisted living accommodation, to grow vegetables. The garden is there, you say, is because poor soil. It's on a, did you say a tennis court?
That's right, yeah. Yeah,
so there's only a small amount of surface soil to work with. So really what you're looking for at the moment is a greenhouse or greenhouses to cover the right sort of size. We know that as it's on a tennis court, there's a sort of size there that you can imagine, but I'm sure if you are possibly able to help, or you know somebody with a whole load of greenhouses who could help, then get in touch and have that conversation with Bill, and we'll find out exactly what's going to be useful there. Of course, any other tips, advice, seeds, who knows what else they might appreciate. But the very first thing he's asking for is that greenhouse.
Brilliant stuff.
Great. I'm going to put it on the wall. No, don't try and stop me. And there it is. Bill, we've got this up there, waiting for comments to help you out.
Yes, and if you are watching Bill and you've actually decided, you know what, I'd love to actually say this in my own words and encourage support, then you're welcome to click on the link that accompanies this video and join us here on this video broadcast. So we've got another written ambition that we'll go to now, which is from Melissa.
I missed that. Who is this from?
Melissa. So her goal is that she wants to help give food to homeless people in Brighton. So she wants to work with a charity who are planning to provide food for 280 homeless people in the city. So she's not specified what the charity is, but she wants to work with one that she's in contact with already to provide 280 people in the city with food. So what she needs help with is very specific. She needs a van for a week or 2. So she's looking to borrow a Sprinter van or an equivalent. And so I didn't know what a Sprinter van was. I had to look it up. But it's one of them proper big white vans, although I don't suppose it has to be white. Let's say, you know, when you hear the phrase white van man, it's that kind of size van that we're talking about. But does anybody know anybody who isn't using their large van at the moment who would be willing to give it up for that cause to help Melissa help feed 280 homeless people in Brighton and Hove? If you do, then you can get in touch by leaving a comment underneath the Facebook Live video, clicking the link underneath this video, or by sending a message on WhatsApp to Agatha. Have you got that all down, Andy?
Oh, I wanted to know how long she wanted to borrow it for. You said, but it went in one ear and fell out the other.
She just said for a week or two, because I think she's aware that it might be a bit too much of an ask to say, can I permanently loan somebody's van? So she's asking for as many people who have vans as possible to actually just lend it to her for a week at a time or so.
Or maybe go out and drive her around, or drive the stuff around. Certainly if your van is laid up because you've had to furlough your staff and stuff like that, then this sounds like a really nice way of being able to make sure that it's still running and ticking over and so on. And it could well help there a lot. So Melissa, hello Melissa. I've written that you want to give food to homeless people with a charity that's already helping something like 280 homeless people. It's sad that that's the case, but there it is. And really what your need is at the moment is the ability to get that food out there, as I understand it, or maybe get the goods in for people to make the food. Don't quite know that. So you're asking for a fairly good sized van, hence the term Sprinter that Adam so eloquently explained. If you're a white van man and you can't get out in your white van, maybe you can help Melissa out. So yes, please, can she borrow it for a week or two? Person with van, maybe, you know, kind of work through with her on getting the right kind of insurance so that she can do the driving. Who knows?
Terrific. I'm just looking down, seeing, is Brian there? Is Brian there? And unfortunately, he's not arrived because his internet really not playing with him. I'm half expecting my phone to go off. So if it does, don't mind me being really unprofessional and speaking to him, because we'd love to have him on. Also, Judy, if you're watching, Judy, we're ready for you to come on and share your goal and your ambition as well. Hopefully, Judy's not also having problems with her equipment. So this gives me, if you don't mind, Andy, the rare opportunity to share my own goal.
Oh, let's get you a sheet.
Yeah. Okay. So at the moment, I am working with a few other people who are in different parts of the world on something called Ppe Maker Network. So this is a website. In fact, I could share the screen and show it to you. It's a website that features a very simple map. And what we want to do is provide an information point for people who are making personal protective equipment in the community and those who can supply it to people who need PPE. So I'm going to share the screen now, and you can actually have a look at the website itself. So this should hopefully work. There we are. So down here is the map, loading very slowly. So you can see 4 different colored pins there and some cars. So the pins relate to different things. So we've got the blue pins, which are people making PPE. We've got the green pins, which are people who can supply PPE. The orange pins are people who want to help deliver or make PPE. And the red with the white cross, those are people who need PPE. So you can see it's across the UK currently, and we've got hundreds of people who have got themselves onto the map saying, help, I need PPE, who can make it. So if we, just to give you an example, if we zoom down into Brighton and Hove, you can see it's very busy down here. So if we click on one of those that needs PPE, this is a person called Azar, who said, as a manager of a local care home, I'm asking for help from the community to supply local care homes with PPE, namely visors and long sleeve gowns. So then there are other people in the community on the blue pins or the green pins who are making, or those who are supplying things that might help Azar. So hopefully you can grasp that what this is about is acting as a bit of a notice board, so that anybody who needs PPE or wants to make it or can supply it can connect with each other. So what do we need? Here's the man himself. Here's Brian calling me now. I'll call him back in just a moment. I'll finish this. But what do we need help with? Well, we need people to get on board in our team. We need volunteers. So we're all volunteers working on it, trying to fit it around our day jobs. And we need people to come on board to share the website on Facebook and on other social media outlets so that we can get word out there, because it's no good to anybody if people don't know it exists. And also, we need people now to start connecting people on the map. So the people who are saying we need PPE, they're really busy. We're talking about people in care homes. We're talking about bus drivers, talking about any kind of frontline workers. But this website is specifically not for NHS workers. And that's not because we don't want to help them, but that's because there are other initiatives already out there supporting NHS staff. So we want to support those people that are often overlooked, people who are keeping the country going. So, for example, I was at the market stall this morning getting my fruit and veg, and they didn't have any PPE and they wanted some. So it's for people like that, people who are putting themselves in danger to help us, to help the country keep on moving, and they need stuff. So what would help us? Volunteers, and also just sharing the map. And if you know somebody who needs PPE, or you know somebody who is making it or can supply it, or maybe you're at home thinking, I'd like to help in some way. Maybe I've got some time, maybe I've got some materials, maybe I know how to sew. I could sew some scrubs or some bags or anything else that's needed. Then we want to hear from you, and we want you to go to ppemaker.net, ppemaker.net, and you'll be able to fill out a really quick form, and then you'll get put on the map. And then those connections can start to be made so you can get what you can supply to others, or you can get the help that you need. So you've taken all that down, Andy. Yes. I don't know if that made any sense. It's really different, actually, being the person talking about your own ambition. I've never done it before.
Well, may I invite you to contact Brian? Yes. Whilst I just share with everybody who's tuned in what you shared and also why it's here. Hello, everybody. Now, Adam's ambition, which he surprised me with, I know he's been working on this for a while, but we weren't expecting him to share his ambition. But why not? He's human too. He's been involved in co-developing a network to help makers of personal protection equipment connect up with those who need it, particularly outside the NHS, because they have their own schemes. And there is a scheme, there's a website up and running with interactive website and maps and everything. And he's looking for volunteers. They as a team are looking for volunteers to help promote, share the website, and also do some of that connection between those people. If you think that you can help Adam, or you're inspired by Andrea's project here to do with a housing co-op in support of people from the LGBT community, looking at a sort of area in Hove where they'd like to set up co-op homes, or a different Andy here who is offering a donation-only help to fix computers, or Bill here who's looking for greenhouses for residents in the Silver Birches assisted care home so that they can help grow their own vegetables, which sounds like a lovely thing to do. Or possibly even lend Melissa a white van for a couple of weeks and so on. Then we'd love to hear from you. Now, I stand here with my array of Post-it notes and a selection of multicolored pens, and I will be more than happy to scribe down those comments that you make. Comments tend to be things like, you know someone who might be able to help, or you've got some tips and advice. There's some ideas there that you think that person may not know. Share them. They may not know it. It might be really useful. And of course, if you want to join in, be a part of what they're doing, say so, and we'll be more than happy to connect you. Right, you can get in touch with us 3 ways. I know Adam's going to jump back into the screen when he's ready. So let me share with you the 3 ways that you can join us. You can join us by clicking on the link connected to this live stream on Facebook, which will be absolutely brilliant. In there, you'll go into a backstage area and we'll get you on the screen with us live, which will be absolutely brilliant. Give us the chance of having a chat with you direct. Or there's a little number going on the screen right now. It's 07488912331. Dial that number into your WhatsApp and have a digital chat with the wonderful Agatha. She sits there ready to take your comments in and share them back out with us and so on. She's a lovely person. Do say hi. And of course, you can make a comment, direct yourself into the comments field underneath this live stream. Or if you tuned in and watching the repeat, because this live stream will be available to watch back, make those comments there. We will get them and we will pass them on. We'll be happy to do so. There we go. I'm wondering if Adam might be back. If he's not, there you go. Hi. Have we had a response from Brian?
Yes, so Brian says he's going to be here any second now. So we'll go straight to him. So we were hoping to hear from Judy as well, but Judy's having problems too, which is a shame. So it's left us in a bit of a lurch, let's be honest. So Brian hopefully is going to appear any second and he'll be our saviour and we'll hear all about his excellent ambition in East Brighton. But unfortunately, we don't actually have him yet. So what can we do now? We've got...
could I possibly tell you about, and our viewers, about the contemplation station?
What happens there?
Well, the contemplation station is the bit of this activity that we're unable to do. Normally we'd be out there, as I've said earlier, on the streets, happy to meet with you, very, very friendly. If you don't want to talk to us and just have a browse of these ambitions, we leave you to it. If you want to pick up a post-it and make some comments and so on, we leave you to it. But if you get inspired but feel a little confused, this is why we're there. And I want to say a shout out to the amazing volunteers who work with us here in Ambigo. We've been incredibly lucky. A lot of our volunteers have a great deal of experience as therapists, as coaches, as generally kind of enthusiastic people. And they will happily spend a little while just chatting with you about what your ambition might be, help you draw it out, find out what the excitement is that you have about it, and how to write it down so that other people can understand it, and maybe even help you work out what kind of help you might want. For example, and one of my favorite questions, requests for help is, how do I start? That's one of the favorite questions we can get here because it opens it up and people might say, well, start by joining a group. Come and join. I run a writers group. Come and join us. I can see that there's some activity going on. So
we've got a Brian.
Oh, brilliant.
Let's go straight to Brian.
Come and join.
That he's ready to join us and his technology is working. Good evening, Brian. Unfortunately, we can only see a black space at the moment. Oh dear. All right, we'll have to lose Brian. Oh, that's a shame.
There was almost a voice that came through.
Let's try him again. Brian, are you there? Can you hear us, Brian?
Hello, how you doing, everyone?
Yes, good. I think there's a huge delay, but we'll try and persevere with it because I know you've been trying so hard to get on to the...
We've had tech issues, but I hope you can hear us.
Yes, just about. So tell us, Brian, what is your ambition? What is it that you do?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, how you doing? I can, yes.
Tell us your ambition. I think there's a really long delay. Okay, I really don't think Brian can hear us. What is going on tonight, Andy? Right, well, we'll see if Brian can turn something off and back on again and see if he can join us. Because you know what? He set up...
She was due on at 7:10.
He was trying to speak to us in a different location in East Brighton, and he set up a little studio, and he got posters up all around the wall. He got his certificate ready. He was borrowing his lad's computer so he could talk to us, and his internet wasn't working there, so he's had to leave there, and now he's gone back to his flat to connect with us from there. to hope that he can get through to us. And we couldn't hear him. I can see on the bottom of my screen that he's got people helping him, trying to make things clearer, and now he's disappeared. So it's going marvelously well tonight, I have to say. So what I'm going to do instead is share with you, back in the glory days when there were no technological problems and everybody was where they needed to be, we were able to help some people. And here's an example of when we were able to help somebody who came onto this very broadcast but a week ago. And his name was Hijacked. So that's this chap here. So Hijacked is somebody who wanted to raise funds, and he wanted to raise funds for his friends in the Gambia. Now that's in West Africa, and they've been suffering greatly with the lockdown. But also they've been suffering because tourism there has taken a big hit with the collapse of an airline, Thomas Cook. And so that means their economy has really been struggling. And he's got a lot of friends there who aren't able to get by very easily. And they've got kids and they're not able to go to school without him sending some money over. But he doesn't just want to ask people for money outright and get them to put their hands in their pockets as a simple donation. Instead, he's wanting to use his skills. So he came on to this broadcast last week and he said, I want to clean your windows, and I want to clean your carpets, and I want to do other bits of DIY that you need around the house. And if you can pay me whatever you want, then I will send that 100% of it to my friends in the Gambia. And it won't be spent on parties or food and drink or whatever. It would be spent purely on helping them survive through these really difficult times. So you were out there and you were listening and you helped share his goal, and he connected with somebody called Helen. He said, yeah, I actually need some jobs doing around the house. Can you come over to mine and clean my windows and carpets or something? I don't actually know what the job was that she needed doing, but he went round and did it anyway. And he was able to raise money, which was his aim. So a little success story there for you. And there are several more as well. And we want to hear from you. If you have your own personal goal, idea, or ambition that you would like to share and get support for, then this is your opportunity. You can join us on this video broadcast right now if you click on the link that accompanies this video. So I can see Brian moving at the bottom of my screen. So let's try Brian once more and see if he can hear us and we can hear him. Hello, Brian. How's it working now? Can you hear me, Brian? It's still not working, I'm afraid. Oh, it's heartbreaking. Unfortunately, we're going to have to lose Brian. It's just not working for us tonight, is it, Brian? Never mind. Well, I can see we've got our next participant who's ready and waiting. Dan, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go, Dan. Dan is ready. So let's go to Dan.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Can you hear me okay? Is the tech working all right?
Oh, you are perfect.
Excellent. It's a shame we couldn't hear from Brian, but such is the way. I guess you'll have to get him on again another time.
Exactly. We'll try again with him next week, but he's been trying for the last 3/4 of an hour to get connected. So that's really unfortunate because he's doing some great stuff in East Brighton. It would have been great to hear from him, but hopefully we will be able to sooner rather than later. Anyhow, Dan, you're also somebody who does some great stuff in the community. Tell me what your current goal or idea or ambition is.
Well, so just to introduce myself to everybody, my name is Dan Curtis from Brighton Hove Energy Services Co-op, or BESCO for short. We're a local community energy group, and our overarching ambition, our lofty ambition, is to remove fossil fuels completely from our local and national energy supply. And our way that we see of doing that is to make every building in Brighton Hove as sustainable as it can be. So that's both through energy efficiency, having good insulation and low energy lighting, as well as wherever possible for every building to generate its own renewable energy.
Well, that's fantastic. So tell me about how you go about doing that.
So BESCO work with any homes or businesses around the city really who are interested in trying to reduce their energy bills and their carbon emissions. So we would usually do a site survey, see what technologies would work best for any given property, because it's not like there's a one-size-fits-all solution. Unfortunately, some properties, solar power, for example, wouldn't work if there's trees shading it, or if it's got a north-facing roof or something like that. So we would survey a property, draw up a plan for how to make the building more sustainable, and install that technology on behalf of the customer. We always do it on a what we call our pay-as-you-save model, so that our energy customers never have to pay for any of the projects we deliver. We raise the money from the community, so anybody in Brighton Hove, or indeed Europe, I believe, can become an investor in any of our projects. They would get a 5% return, and that means that we can buy all the technology, all the energy-saving measures, and install that at no upfront cost to our customers. And then over a number of years, they would pay back that upfront cost with the savings that they make on their monthly energy bill. So everybody wins, is the idea.
And what's your personal drive to do this, Dan? You could be doing all sorts of things with your time. Why are you so passionate about this?
Well, but before I worked for Besco, I was just working for a local family savings company, sort of finance stuff, and it was okay. But it was really when I saw that Al Gore documentary, An Inconvenient Truth, I think it was called, and then I read a book by Al Gore, which is called The Future, and he painted quite a clear choice, really. He said the world can carry on as business as usual with a fossil fuel-based, carbon-based economy, which will definitely end badly. Well, he made a very compelling case, really, that we're the last generation that can make a meaningful change to avoid the worst effects of climate change. And he kind of had quite a clarion call that was our great challenge of the early 21st century. And I couldn't think of anything better that I wanted to do with my time. Basically, I didn't want to feel really guilty in sort of 20 years, think, we should have done more when we had a chance. So that's my motivation to this day, is a sort of fear of regret of not doing more whilst the opportunity is there.
And so did it, and does it make you think of your own life and your own family and what will happen in the future if people don't act? Well, absolutely. I mean, not to be cynical, to a certain extent, I feel that if climate change is caused by humans, so perhaps humans deserve to pay the cost for that. But what really motivates me is the animal kingdom, I suppose. When you see things like the forest fires in Australia last year, and the hundreds of thousands of koala bears dying and things like that really moves me. I don't know if you saw one of the more recent David Attenborough documentaries with the walruses. Did you see that? I'll tell you something, Dan. I can't watch them because it would upset me so much that I deliberately stay away from them. But no, a lot of walruses, and because of all the ice has melted, they were climbing up to try and find the only spot where they could get some ice, and they're not really designed to climb up so high, and they're all falling off these cliffs, and it was awful. And that's certainly a motivator. But we have to do everything we possibly can in the next 10 years, apparently, before it's too late. So how can people help you in your quest? Well, I mean, we would like, for everything that I said before, where we want every building to become as sustainable as possible in Brighton and Hove, Besco really want to be the default organization, the trusted community organization that anyone would go to. So if someone thought, I would like to have solar panels on my roof, they could come to Besco. If someone wanted to improve their insulation, they could come to Besco. So that's how anybody, if people have been thinking about that, generally, if people wanted to reduce their own carbon emissions, probably from watching the same programs that I've seen, then they could help, I suppose, by, I'd like to think, because we're a not-for-profit community-owned organization, whatever advice we gave would be entirely for the benefit of that property. So people could help by, maybe if somebody's a trustee or something of a local community organization, get in touch, or if you know somebody who is, or, I mean, there's so many buildings at Brighton Hove, we can't necessarily survey them all or approach everybody. But if someone has an idea, if somebody lives opposite a community centre or an old church or something like that and thinks that could be a good project for a community energy project, people could help by letting us know or suggesting that. We would also like everybody in the city who can to become a member.
of our cooperative. So everybody is welcome to become a member. The minimum investment is £250, which I appreciate could be a barrier for some people, but for anyone who's looking to save a bit of money, that's far better than you'd receive in a bank at the minute, and you'd know that your money is achieving great things every day as well. And then we also have quite a lot of very motivated volunteers. Our volunteer team is really, we could never do nowhere near as much work as we have done without our volunteers. And I think it's quite an emotive subject that a lot of people think, I really want to do more about climate change. What can I do? Well, volunteering for us, whether that's helping me with, I do all of our communication stuff. So if it's helping me with the website or social media stuff, that's great. People are better with sort of maths or engineering stuff. They could help our project managers. We also do a lot of work around fuel poverty as well in the city. So I visit food banks and places and try and help people to find a cheaper energy deal, maybe apply for financial support they're not aware of. So volunteers have helped me out with that before. If anyone really who knows how to use an iPad and the internet can help with that kind of thing. So yeah, so volunteering or becoming a member or just suggesting some ideas for good, what people might think would be good energy projects. So, you know, if someone's a governor of a school or something, maybe mention BESCO to the other governors and say, oh, there's this organisation there that can help us to reduce our energy bills and our carbon footprint.
Well, it's certainly a movement that thankfully is growing in terms of people waking up to the reality of the climate crisis. And there are lots of people who are wanting to find ways to help. So thanks for listing all the ways they could help you and BESCO. So Andy's been taking all that down. So now I can throw over to him, Andy.
Dan, hello.
Hi, Andy.
It's nice to see you again, my friend. My apologies, you can't see my face, but you'll get to see it later on. I am the disembodied voice that accompanies what we call an ambition calling card. Now, I apologize. I've made a bit of a mess of this because I've also been trying to help connect some of our other ambitioneers who've been having a little bit of a problem with that. But Dan, bear with me. Here's what I've caught. Dan from BESCO, which is the Brighton and Hove Energy Services Cooperative. That's right?
That's right, Andy. Yes, well done.
Lovely, brilliant. And the BESCO are offering a pay-as-you-save energy upgrades to reduce carbon waste, to help save people money. And that's a pathway, as you eloquently said, out of fuel poverty, which is quite an important part of many people's lives, and of course to improve the environment, try and head off the climate catastrophe that we seem to be inexorably, I read that word in a book somewhere, inexorably heading towards. And you've made good headway by the sounds of it, but you'd like to do a lot more. And of course, a part of that is the capital to get those upgrades in so that people can earn the savings and then pay it back off. That's where I understand that your call for help, which is manyfold, a part of it is the call for shareholders. This is something for a good cause, which caught my attention. So thank you for bringing that to us. So shareholders with a minimum investment, as you said, of about 250, but more if they can, for quite a reasonable return from what you said, in a nice legal formal arrangement, so the money is safe, or is legally bounded in that way, and of course has the capital behind it of people buying the hardware. So there's actual physical items that has value behind the money. So it's not you guys stuffing it into your pockets and running off to bathe in the sunshine somewhere. And that would really enable you to do even more of these things. Shareholders is one of your calls for help. Another are more community or big building projects that you can get involved in, where these public spaces could earn quite a notable saving, contribute or invest some of that saving into the future and help feed into this cycle that you've got going on to lift us out of environmental catastrophe. It's a lovely idea. Bring on the sustainability, bring on the renewables, and so on. And of course, so if anyone does know a contact there, or is, as you said, maybe a member of the board of governors at a school or something like that, on the panel that runs a community centre, or maybe even some other kind of building, that we'll be more than happy to help get them in touch with you. And of course, just to let people know that you're out there, the pathway to being able to help people out of fuel poverty. You told us about how you've been helping people work out savings on their bills and applying for support and so on. So getting individuals in touch with you as well as organizations, that's part of the call for help that I've heard from you. Dan, is that about right?
Yeah, you fabulously put, Andy. I think you captured everything. Just also, I said, if anyone was keen to volunteer, we're always, obviously right now it's a bit tricky.
Yes.
Generally, we always love to have people aboard to help out with our volunteering team.
And volunteers. There you go. I'm going to put a little smiley face by the volunteers. Of course, that's something, as you say, that will have to emerge as we come out of lockdown. And this physical distancing, we can move from there. Okay, I'm going to swap cameras now, Dan. Bear with me. Hi.
Hey, there you are, Andy.
This is me. And of course, here I am, stood in front of the Ambigo Wall of Ambition. Here, hijacked for the Brighton Hove Hope Exchange, which is our response to being in lockdown. Normally, as you know, we'd be out there on the streets handing out Co-op cupcakes whenever they give us them to hand out. Thanks, Co-op. And other delicious snacks to people and luring them, inviting them in, allowing them to browse people's ambitions, including yours, Dan, which I'm going to plant here on the wall. Now, generally speaking, we get 3 types of comments. Some favorable words, of course, it's lovely to have that. Tips and advice, someone may know something. Other ways that you can address the sustainability thing or other renewables that they might suggest that maybe you don't know. From what I understand, Besco is pretty knowledgeable, but make the comments anyway, people, because there's always a chance they don't know. And it'd be really useful if you give them something more to help. Of course, contacts, the second type of comment, contacts are really, really useful. I know somebody who is a governor at the local school. Let's get them in to have a chat and make that contact. We'd be happy to pass that contact on. Or you are personally in fuel poverty. Definitely get in touch. We'll make the contact through, get Besco to get in touch with you, tell them where they are out doing information stores and how they can help you, maybe a survey or whatever. And of course, if you have money and would like to invest in this, please do. There's a whole investment pathway there. And of course, which is where the volunteer thing comes in, if you like this ambition and it really speaks to you, come and join them. They've said they're happy to have you. Go and meet them in person after lockdown or online before the lockdown lifts and so on. Get to know each other, and you too could be part of lifting this up. Normally at this point, I ask Adam to join us because what I'd like him to do is just share with our viewers as briefly as possible, but as succinctly as possible, how they can get in touch to make those kind of comments.
Yes. Thank you, Andy. So there are 3 ways you can do it. You can reach out by leaving a comment underneath the Facebook Live video that you are watching, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can comment there as well. Or you can click on the link that accompanies this video and you'll join us in this video broadcast. Or you can leave a message for Agatha on WhatsApp on the number that's about to scroll across the bottom of your screen. Okay, Dan, is there anything else you'd like to share before you go?
Well, I'd like to say thank you for having us on. And hopefully I'll see the Ambigo team out not getting rained on one of these days.
Yeah, that would be marvelous. So thanks so much, Dan. We're going to move swiftly on to our next participant because we've got 3 more to come before 8:30. And we'll be in touch with any support or anybody that comes through us to find out more and wants to get involved, Dan.
Brilliant. Take care.
Thank you. And you. All right, that's Dan. Down. Let's move straight on to Judy, who has been waiting nice and patiently to come on and share her goal, idea, or ambition. Evening, Judy. How are you?
Hi, good. And I hope you are too.
Yeah, I'm wonderful. And I'm very thankful that you've persisted because technology hasn't been on our side, yet you've stuck with it. And here we are, finally in the right place. So, Judy, please do tell me and share with everybody, what is your goal, idea, or ambition?
Well, I'm the director of the Artists Open Houses Festival. And obviously at this time of year, we would normally be having a fantastic time throughout May with the Brighton Festival, the Arts Open Houses, exciting things happening all over the city. So as it is, we've had to rethink things quite radically, as we all have had to. And Arts Open Houses has been developing several online projects. Some of that is really making open houses online. So artists have been invited to curate parts of their houses, maybe like bathrooms or bedrooms or kitchens, or maybe even just understairs cupboards, areas that visitors to open houses don't normally get to see, those kind of like hidden, exciting places, and to do something slightly different. So it's an opportunity to do something different with your house and show your artwork in different ways. But we've also been doing, we're producing a lockdown blog and asking artists to tell us about the different ways that being in lockdowns affected the way that they produce work, and whether actually in some cases having dedicated time to work on your creativity that maybe you normally have to balance with other employed work, or if it's just changed the way you think and the way that you work, and you've developed new techniques and ideas. But I think what I really wanted to talk to you about is that we're also doing a project making masks. We felt that there's a shortage of masks, and obviously with the government's new recommendations for everyone to wear masks on tube trains and in shops, etc., but no real access to acquiring masks. And obviously nobody wants to deprive the NHS or care workers of masks. So we've asked all our Artists Open Houses, artists and makers, if they would like to make masks that will be readily available for the public to buy. And we've already got quite a few on our website. They're very beautiful, very carefully made, and very affordable. Some of the artists are also offering a donation to the NHS or to other charities. But I think what will be quite exciting about them is that they will be designer masks. And so it'll be, it can make wearing a mask maybe quite a pleasurable thing to do, or as pleasurable as it could possibly be. So that's my project, really, that I suppose what I'm asking for help with is both if there are any other artists out there and makers out there who would like to join us in making masks available, or just anybody out there who would like to buy a mask.
Tremendous. Yeah, well, you've really, really succinctly but really clearly described what it is that you want to do and what help you need. So I'm curious to know about the moment where you decided, actually, that's what I want to do. What was your motivation there? What was the moment that made you think, this is what I'm going to do with this period of time that we've unexpectedly been landed with, to do something different?
Well, obviously it's kind of necessity, isn't it? But actually, I think it's been quite interesting for all of us to look at other ways that we can work, and other ways that that we can use the internet and use digital methods to get messages out, to show who artists are, what they're doing. But I think I also, in the particular case of the masks, felt that somehow, in some countries that there are machines at stations where you can just get masks, but we don't seem to have that. So I just thought there was a kind of need that we could help fill.
So a question has come in from Julia, who's with us this evening, and it's relevant for me to ask now, I think. She says, are you using a template or pattern for the masks?
So we've downloaded the on our website. We've got the template that was in the Guardian. I think it's probably in other places as well, but we downloaded it from there, and that's available on our website. So that gives kind of information to show exactly how you make it. But people have used different materials as filters. I know somebody's been using Hoover bags as filters, and I think that's quite useful. But obviously sharing knowledge and information on what works best. Some people are saying that it's better not to have elastic around the ears, that to actually have tie cords means that you can adapt them to people's various face shapes. So yeah, but any kind of suggestions and information on that's always really helpful.
Yeah. Well, me personally, with a different hat on, I was explaining earlier in our online event that I actually am part of a group of people who are volunteering their time to create something called the Ppe Maker Network. And it's basically an online map which connects people who are making PPE or other protective items with people who need it. And so I often hear as well that there's a big need to get away from these elastic straps around the ears, because people are having to wear them for such long periods of time that they're getting really sore. Yeah. And so people using 3D printers, and some people are sewing what they're calling ear savers, basically. So just clips that go around the back of the head. And as you say, it makes it more adjustable for different sized heads, because if somebody made me a regular sized mask, then it wouldn't fit me because I've got such a big head. So I need some ear savers myself.
That's really useful. Yeah, we can add that to our tips on how to make your mask, definitely.
Absolutely. Another question from Julia. In fact, I might actually wait and bring her in after we've crossed over to Andy, and Julia can ask you herself. Okay, right. Well, I'm excited for what you're doing, Judy, and thank you for your innovation as well. And I'm going to cross over to Andy, who has been taking down what you've been saying. Andy.
Judy, hello.
Hi.
Hi. It's so nice to see you on screen. Thank you very much for bearing with us, and thank you for this ambition too. I'm pretty excited by this, because I'm actually beginning to think, now that things are changing, maybe I need to source a mask for myself, but I wouldn't want to use a mask that takes away from those who really, really need the quality, high precision made stuff in our care services. What a lovely idea. I'm going to be scooting off to check that site. Okay, Judy, what I'd like to do now, with your permission, is just go through what I've written and check with you that I haven't misunderstood or missed anything significant here. Is that okay? Great. Judy, actually, I've got to be honest with you, I've scribbled a second sheet for you, which I'll show you later on, but I focused this sheet quite specifically on you running a project where artists and makers make masks, and I put in brackets PPE for personal protective equipment, and this is for the public. This is, as we said earlier, it's not, it's so that we don't draw sort of highly technical equipment away from those who really need it, but this is the protection we need in the streets day to day sort of thing. And what you're producing, a designer mask with a certain something creative. And I think if we can't see people's faces, then being able to express ourselves with that creativity is a lovely alternative. It's not the same as a good smile, but it's almost. And they're available to buy now. And you said that some of the people will also be making a donation through to useful, needy groups. But of course, they put their time out. They've made these things, fair dues, pay where it's owed, and so on. So I don't see any objection there, and hope there isn't. And of course, in response to Julia's question, you've informed us that there's a good design, there's a template behind these things, so there's some quality, there's some robustness in their effectiveness, and you talked about Hoover filters and so on. So there is protection in there. It's not just a pretty thing, it's also a useful thing. So I thank you for sharing that. Now, in terms of the help you were asking for here, you're putting a call out for more artists and creatives, makers, to come and join you. That's a lovely thing. I know that Brighton and Hove is full of creative people. It's one of the reasons that I love living down here. So we're happy, I'm happy to be extending that invite from you to everybody who's watching. If you are creative, you know someone who's creative, you're a bit of a maker yourself, you're on furlough and you have less things to do and want to do something that's fun, funky, then get in touch, have a look at their design template and put something together and test it, see how it works. You might really enjoy it. And of course, to let people know that this is available. I didn't know beforehand, so we've successfully let one person know, and I'm happy to be sharing that with others. Judy, have I caught it? Is that about right?
Yes. I'll let you know how you find out about it, shall I?
Yes, please.
So have a look on the Artists Open Houses website, which is www.aoh.org.uk, And you can find all the information about both how to upload an image and information on masks that you might be making, but also how to buy a mask directly from the artist.
Thank you. I'm going to swap cameras now. Hey, Judy. Hi. And hello, everybody, again. It's nice to see you all. Judy, here I am, stood in front of the Wall of Ambitions. This is the amazing Ambigo Wall of Ambitions. It stands almost 7.5 foot tall, and maybe just half an elephant wide. And this goes out with us to public spaces where we normally just stand there. We don't stand in front saying, don't come anywhere near. We basically allow people to come and join us, and they browse these ambitions. I've got your ambition on what we call an ambition calling card, and I'm going to put it, with your permission, right here on the wall itself. Now, unfortunately, we don't have passers-by. Here I am locked down in a back room in my own home, somewhere deep and darkest 5 ways, and very few people come through the house, which is actually, frankly, a good thing just at the moment. So we're doing this digitally on the street corner on a website near you, and we invite people to come and make their comments. Of course, normally we write them on post-it notes. We'll get you to write them on post-it notes. Here, we'll be asking you to make comments in various ways, and in a moment, I'll ask Adam to tell folks how they can do so. I want to share with you, if I may, that I wrote another ambition sheet for you because you were kind enough to share with us the alternative to the artist open houses that you're doing, the whole thing about little areas in people's rooms and so on. So I've put that up there, and also the blog you're doing. And that's a very interesting blog, how the whole thing is affecting us from the point of view of creatives and so on. It's good for us to capture these things. We'll learn, we'll experience, we'll improve ourselves. And of course, I've assumed that you're happy for people to join in, to let others know it's there and stuff like that. So we've actually put a couple of ambitions up for you. Is that okay?
That's excellent. Yes, I mean, we'd love as many people as possible to have a look at what we're doing, and because I think that what we really want to do is keep the open houses up there alive in everybody's minds and see what artists are doing in this very difficult period, and for when we're back again in real life, when you can actually go around people's houses again, whenever that may be, whether it will be later in the year, maybe in October, November, maybe we can do the Christmas open houses, but we don't know. So, in some ways this may be the future. So we're kind of building up a virtual festival for October, November, and it might be really looking around people's houses in this way, which is some ways very interesting, and having artists leading you on tours, talking to you about their work as they go, and also maybe art in windows. We're also doing a project about art in artist windows, but we may look at doing art in shop windows and just other ways that we can find to make it safe for the public to engage with.
Great idea, thank you. And one of the things I like about this, especially with the blog sharing, is it's nice to see how other people are responding. We can draw inspiration, we can draw camaraderie about the challenges, and maybe learn a few things and get a few more tricks up our sleeves. Talking about tricks up our sleeves, this is my segue into inviting Adam to join us again.
Hello. Before I decided to share with you the ways you can get in touch, I'll just demonstrate the beautiful mask that I've got, which I really love because it's made by some artists in Brighton. I'll take it off so you can hear me properly.
Yes, please.
But, you can see it's a Union flag. It's called the New Union flag, and it's been designed by an artist in Brighton called Gil Doran. I don't know if you've heard of it. So he runs something called the Socially Engaged Art Salon in Brighton. And so he and some friends have got together and they've been making masks out of his flag. So I got one for me and some for my parents up here as well. So, it really actually stood out to me when I saw somebody else wearing them online. I thought, actually, I'm jealous. I want to kind of walk around looking cool. You don't just want a blue surgical looking one, do you? So it's a great idea to invite artists to actually use their skills so that we can walk around looking pretty and feeling cool rather than feeling embarrassed because we're having to wear a mask. So if you can help in any way, if you're watching at home and you're thinking, I would like to get involved in this, then you can. And you can get in touch in 3 ways. You can leave a comment underneath this Facebook Live video. You can actually join us on this broadcast by clicking the link that accompanies this video, or you can call, or rather WhatsApp Agatha on the number that's about to scroll across the bottom of your screen. So thank you so much, Judy. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we say?
I think, yeah, just hope that we get to see everybody back again in the open houses in October. But yeah, visitors online in the meantime.
And yeah, we're going to be making a social media post out of this ambition as well. So I'll be back in touch soon when we do that. And also be in touch if anybody out there wants to join in or can help in any way. So thank you so much, Judy.
Thank you.
Goodbye. So let's move on to the next person, because we've still got a couple of people to come and not much time. So Katarina is the next person who's been waiting very patiently. So let's bring in Katarina. Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. And you?
Yes, no, I'm doing very good. I enjoyed bringing on my little mask.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just saw it.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Anyhow, that's what you're here to talk about. You're here to talk about your own goal or ambition. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to share this this ambition with you guys, and eventually have some help. But at least talking about it is already quite nice thing for me. So my goal is to improve the mental health of refugee people living in refugee camps. More precisely, I would be focusing on Moria camp, and I heard that you were already volunteering there too, so you know that it's well, living conditions are very poor, and these people actually have gone through so many traumatic events already. So they.
So should we clarify? This is on a Greek island called Lesbos.
Yeah, that's it. I forgot to mention that. So. It's one of the many refugee camps existing in Greece, and where the living conditions, and even now and more now than before, are very, very poor with the coronavirus situation and everything. So yeah, as I was saying, these people just went through many traumatic events, and so and they just continue going through these traumatic events, that I wanted to do something about it. And so I will be helping, aiming to run a research in order to design like an evidence-based multidisciplinary program that would include sports practice, breath work, meditation, community-based activities. Actually, I would need to run this research to understand which program would be the most adapted to and most effective to help them out. So, and I answering to the questions that you gave me, this is very important for me, because since I saw for myself and witness, and also because I went through myself some traumatic events while I was volunteering in Lesbos, I understood that, like, I lived myself what is to live this the symptoms of post-traumatic stress, and how this affected my capacity to make decisions, to have good reasoning, and really affected my work, my way of doing my work there. So that's why actually it made a lot of sense for me to try to run this research to understand how we could help. And also because when I came back early March, with all still living these symptoms somehow, I had a chance to have a lot of support, and also with the experience I had as a sport teacher, adapted sport teacher, and yogi myself. Well, I kind of did some activities and did some work myself that really helped me over going this all this distress and all the symptoms that I had. And I did like yoga lessons, meditation, breath work, a lot of breath work, psychosocial sessions, and a lot of education also around what is post-traumatic stress, how it works, what are the effects. And so I felt a lot better after that. And I just said to myself, well, it's not, I told myself that I'm sorry for my English. Must be the stress. And so I just felt that this was not so hard things to set up and to put together to extend to refugee people. So would be to find partners there to work along with and design this project together and this program together to help refugee people. So the way I need help with now would be to find people to collaborate with me and that would have experience on this other like I have experience in sports practice, but find people that would have experience with meditation techniques, breath work, that already have experience maybe with refugee people. That would be a plus. With the people that would do the psychosocial sessions and education sessions around trauma and its effects, and also funding. Actually, funding is also a need. Funding, or if people know about scholarships or funding programs for researchers and like this in terms of mental well-being, that would be awesome. So I don't know if it was clear all this, but
oh
yeah,
really clear. And you can really tell that you've thought about this hard, about what you want to say and what your asks are to the people watching. So this is going to reach thousands of people eventually, because after we broadcast live, it will remain online, and so people will go back and we'll point people to it as well. And we'll also make a social media post about your ambition so that we can try and garner some more support. So is there anything else that you can think of that you want to get out there as an ask to the people watching?
Well, for now, I guess that's it. Yeah, people to collaborate with, because this is like I imagine this like as a teamwork. I already have some contacts with NGOs working with sports in Lesbos, and they are really excited about this program. So yeah, people to collaborate with and funding. For now, it's what comes more to my mind. I don't know if you have some ideas or something too.
Yeah, well, first of all, I was wondering if you could, I mean, obviously I know because I've been there a couple of times, like you've alluded to, but could you share with us what conditions are like over there? So how many people are there and what are their living conditions?
Sure. So yeah, there's 20,000 people living in Moria camp in Lesbos Island. The living conditions are super poor. This camp was designed for 3,000 people, and so it's really, really overcrowded. Now in this moment they are quarantined. They can't get out of the camp. So there's the tensions are rising inside the camp. I had some news of there was a fire, second fire, little time ago, and there's a rising tension among people, more violence inside the camp also, because they are kind of hopeless, and there are a lot of other incidents going on in the island too. A lot of pushbacks from people that are coming to the island also. So and they are hopeless. They don't know what the future will be or will look like for them. And they are afraid for their lives if coronavirus hits the island. And there was a news from 2 people that were also infected, but they are not in Mori camp apparently. So yeah, they are really scared and really under stress right now. So yeah. That's true.
And also, as well as the hopelessness and the desperate conditions, what has inspired me when I've come back from my trips there has been the resilience of the people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the children as well, just constantly playing playing in rubbish and playing in mud and really dangerous conditions. But the people there are enterprising. They're really intent on maintaining their dignity as well. They may only have a tent, but they'll put some pot plants in the front of it. Try and make it home. And there's a real community spirit there as well. And I learned so much from the residents there, and the residents were leading most of the tasks that I was volunteering with. So it really felt like I was there to support them in any way I could, but it was nice to know that they were leading. So anyway, we could talk all night, Katarina, about our experience.
Sure. And I just wanted to add to what you say, that now there's little NGOs acting there, but actually the news that I got is that they are even more active on their own, on bringing things together, and they are very resilient, as you said. So, but really inspiring, that's for sure. Besides everything that's happening, they keep smiling. That's quite wow.
It's unbelievable. Let's go over to Andy now, who's been writing all of this down, and let's see if he's been able to capture everything that you've wanted to get across. Andy.
Sure.
Hello, Katarina.
Hi.
Welcome. Thank you for sharing. Yes, as Adam says, I am the disembodied voice that will run through the ambition calling card that I have attempted to scribe on your behalf. Just want to check with you that I have caught everything you said, that I haven't missed anything, or worse still, misunderstood anything. Is that okay?
Sure.
Sure. Well, here we go. You want to improve the mental well-being of people leaving refugee camps, so kind of moving on from their time there.
Sorry. They're still living in the refugee camp.
So it's living in rather than leaving. That's okay. This is why we check living in. Starting with the camp in the Moria camp over in Greece, using sports, breathwork, and other programs, and you're going to be guided by the research and expert information. So thank you for sharing that. In terms of the help you need, you would like to find people to collaborate with. In particular, any of those with skills that can add to your skills. And there you are talking about the the sports background and so on. So people who are able to make this wider and more effective and fuller. That's who you're looking for. Who maybe even have some experience working with refugees, which will be a real bonus. And the other call for help there is that you're looking for help finding funding for this. So there are some avid fundraisers out there, or people who've been through a process and can give you tips and advice, or maybe even funding consultants who could possibly kind of get in touch with you and be partner up and so on. That's something you'd like there as well. And of course, and I thank you for this, any other tips and advice, other ideas too. And of course, this is the magic of what we do here. People can sometimes come in with a comment that we didn't know about something we didn't know about. And as is often said, it's hard to know what to ask for when you don't know what's there. So if someone out there does know something you don't know, then it'd be great to let you know, and you can add it to, or you can disregard it depending on whether it helps or not. Is that about right, Katarina?
That's perfect. You got it.
Great. Let me lean in and do the usual thing of swapping cameras. This is where I get to see, this is where you get to see me. Hi.
Ooh, how are you?
And here I am, in fact, stood in front of the wall of ambitions. This is the Ambergo wall of ambitions, and I am going to take your ambition and add it to the wall, where we invite people to, normally they'd have a, come up close and have a read of these things. But here, what they'll do is they'll be watching this live or watching the repeat, and we invite them to do the equivalent of fill in a post-it note and leave some comments, maybe some tips and advice, maybe something you don't know about that might be really useful, maybe some specific contacts, someone who knows a psychosocial intervention expert, lovely phrase that, who would be the perfect match. If they can make that contact for you, we would be happy to share that with you. And of course, other people who might want to join in and be a part of this. Of course, we're in Brighton and Hove, and we are focused on Brighton and Hove. That doesn't mean that we are not looking to help people outside of it. We're looking to draw on the skills and expertise here in our wonderful city. So the call is to anyone who's watching, in particular those of you in Brighton and Hove, to come and be a part of this, or any of the other ambitions that you'd like to. There we go, Katarina. How's that for you?
Amazing. Yeah,
now,
thank you.
You're very welcome. At this point, I draw Adam in. And Adam, please remember, we have the wonderful Julia with us. And we were going to get some comments on her about face masks and so on earlier on. I don't know whether she might be able to help with this or not. I don't know. But yeah. I would also like to ask you to remind people how they can get in touch.
Yes. So we will go to Julia in just a sec, who's got some contacts she might be able to share with you, Katarina.
Great.
And if anybody at home is watching this and you think that you can help Katarina in any way, then you can get in touch in one of three ways. You can leave a message underneath this Facebook Live video, or you can click on the link that accompanies the video and you can join us in this broadcast, or you can send a WhatsApp message to our lovely friend Agatha, who's enjoying some cheesecake right now, on that number that's right at the bottom of your screen. Okay, let's bring in Julia, because Julia, I think that you're able to share a tip or two, perhaps, for Katarina. Julia.
Yeah, hi, Katarina.
Hi.
I'm actually here with. Hiya. I'm actually here officially with my co-op hat on, because that was one of the original reasons why Adam invited me on. But I'm also a trustee and member of the management committee of Sanctuary on Sea. I don't know if you know Sanctuary on Sea, but we're an organisation in Brighton and Hove which is involved with making Brighton a welcoming place for refugees and asylum seekers.
Wow.
And I've got several contacts at the University of Sussex, Voices in Exile, who are another organisation here in Brighton who help destitute migrants. Calais Action Brighton, I don't know if you know them. They're a group that are involved with supplies and such like for Calais. And also an organisation called Refugee Support Europe, whose main head person is also one of our Sanctuary on Sea management committee. So basically, I won't take up a lot of time now because I know we're running a bit short, but just to say that if you want to send a message to me via, Adam can give you my contact details. I can let you know a couple of these contacts that might be useful for you. And also to mention the Brighton Table Tennis Club, who are a very inclusive group who have a lot of asylum seekers and refugees as part of their group. They may have some ideas about, some of these people I've mentioned may well have ideas about people from the psychosocial point of view that you mentioned. That there might be people that they already work with who are doing this kind of work. So I just if you contact through Adam, ask him for my email address. I'll let you have a few contact details through that. Maybe somebody will be able to help.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Julia.
Yes, thanks a lot, Julia. And that's why we invited Julia to be part of the event this evening, because she's so well connected. And she mentioned Refugee Support Europe, and the chap who runs that is called Paul, and he's actually done a lot of work in Greece to support refugees. So I'm sure will have some really useful contacts as well. So we'll make sure you get connected to all of those people that Julie mentioned. Okay, so we're going to go to Carrie in just a moment. I just want to give you one last chance, Katarina, if there's anything else you've thought of that you'd like to say to the people who are watching this or will watch this.
Well, I'm really happy to for everything that was done and said already, and even for the contacts that I just had. So I just hope that this project will go forward, and I will get some help to do this program.
Yeah, well, it's really needed, and I know personally that it's going to fly, and it is really going to be beneficial to the people out there. So thanks so much for doing it, seizing the initiative and going out there trying to help. So thanks so much, Katarina. It's been really good to you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, bye. Okay, so we're down to our final participant for this evening in the Brighton and Hove Hope Exchange, and it's Carrie. Hello, Carrie.
Hello, you all right?
Yes, very good. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm all right, thank you very much. Just finished work for the evening. I work from home, so I've just done my late shift and now with you guys.
Oh, fantastic. I'm loving your mic setup here. I'm kind of jealous.
Thanks. I always have the mic level with my nose because I get told off by people for breathing, so that's why it's up here. So I do apologise. But
I know he likes to use a headset. He does online gaming, so I bet.
Yeah. I don't trust the microphone on some of my other headsets, so this is the one I trust because I know it works.
Lovely. Well, we can hear you loud and clear, so tell us about your goal or ambition.
My goal isn't as amazing as Katarina's was. Hers was pretty fabulous, and I do hope it goes well for her, so best of luck to yourself. Mine's a little bit more centralised, I guess. I'm hoping to write a selection of children's novels, not novels, short stories, let's say, and I'd like to get them professionally published. I've written, I think, 6 or 7 so far, and I've got plans for about 30, and I'm hoping to illustrate them myself because I'm an arty person. I can draw and things and paint, so I'm hoping to illustrate them myself, and I'd love to get them done professionally because I don't know anybody who's done anything of this kind. I don't know who to go to ask for advice or any kind of tips or anything like that.
You say you've got plans for 30. Does that mean you've already got the storylines all lined up for them?
Well, I'll explain. So with these stories, they are about a little girl who, while her parents are working over the summer holidays, back when life was normal, she would go to her grandmother's house while her parents were at work. So her grandmother has a friend that her little girl will go and visit, and every time she goes, her grandmother's friend would show her a different object. So with the ones I've written so far, I've got the marble egg, the compass, portrait, the globe, all different objects. So what I've done is written all the objects I want to write stories about, and when I come up with the idea, I write up the sort of the brief one sentence of what that story is going to be next to it. So and I've always thought I've had the imagination of a child, so if I see that one word, I can then write story done. So I've had no problems writing these stories so far, so I'd love to write some more, but I've got all the items listed. I just need to write the stories now.
And why did you decide to start writing?
I didn't mean to. I'm a very creative person. I like art and writing, and I do amateur dramatics as well, a bit of acting on the side. So creating is that's just what I do. That's who I am, and that's the only thing I've ever been good at. So it came naturally, and I've tried to write proper novels before, like not adult novels, but full-length novels, and I've always stopped about halfway or something because it's lost momentum and it hasn't worked. But I found with these, they came so naturally, and they as I wrote them, I had my start, I had my interesting bit, and I had my end, and it all just flowed beautifully. And I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm good at. I want to do this. And with these stories, I've found that I've kind of woven in things that have happened to me or bits of my childhood. So they're slightly like autobiographical as well. And I like that. It's like it's my story at the same time. So I quite like that. And I'd love to share that.
Okay. I mean, why was that important to you to involve your own story in it?
I think authors do that all the time. I think I've heard other authors that have written in bits of their own story, and that comes quite naturally. But I feel that my upbringing wasn't necessarily normal. Nothing wrong with it. My upbringing was amazing, but because my family are all creative, my dad is a very different human being to anybody else's dad. I've never met any other dad like mine. He's not interested in football. He very much does his own thing all the time. And 2 weeks ago, he dropped an angle grinder on his foot just for fun. But he's fine. He's all right now. But that was interesting. And my mum does a lot of embroidery. That's her thing. And my brothers are two very different individuals as well. So we're all very different people in one family, surprisingly, because normally with a family you get one family of shoemakers or something, but with us we're all so different. It's so fun just to have all these little different bits and nuggets of information and stuff. So yeah, sorry, I'm waffling. That's a bad habit of mine, to interrupt me if I'm going too far off.
This is really good fun. No, it's something that a lot of people would relate to, because I think there's a lot of people that would dream of being able to write these kinds of stories, but you're just going ahead and doing it, and you've got the skill and talent to do it as well. So how widespread have you shared it so far, your books or your stories?
I haven't spread it particularly far because I'm scared of things like copyright. I don't know how that works, so I don't want to accidentally, not that there's that kind of artisty, oh, they're not good enough. So part of me thinks, oh, they're not good enough to nick, but what if they were? I didn't want somebody else to nick my story, so I don't know how that works. So I've only shown them to my own friends and said, what do you think? Is this okay? And I've had some feedback, and I've tweaked based on the feedback I've got so far. But at the moment I'm too scared to go, hey everybody, look at this, just in case somebody goes, oh, I like that, and makes it their own. So I haven't gone too wide with it. This is the widest I've gone so far, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've already mentioned what you need help with in terms of you just need somebody who can help you publish the books, basically.
Essentially, so I've put like feedback on the stories, like who I would contact, like publisher wise, and information and tips on sort of how publishing works, or who to approach, or how to do any of it, because I'm really new and I don't know who to talk to.
Okay, great. I've got an idea in my head, a contact that might be able to help you, but I'll tell you about that after we've gone to Andy, who's been writing it all down for you. Over to you, Andy.
Hello, Carrie.
I speak very quickly, Andy, so I'm sorry if you've had trouble.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry. When I write quickly, it gets shoddy. So, we're a match made on earth. What can you say? Carrie, thank you very much. And actually, thank you for bringing a personal ambition in. It's important. And I really, really am pleased that you have. Because sometimes we need to look outside of ourselves for sure. Sometimes looking inside of ourselves is also important. And it's a privilege to share this with you, to have you share this with us. Thank you for doing so. And here you are. You've been writing a selection of children's short stories, which is growing. You've got plans for, kind of up to 30 at this point. And you're also looking at illustrating them yourself as well. It's wonderful. I do like living in Brighton and Hove. We're such a creative little city here. It's good fun.
Absolutely. I went just before the lockdown. I went in February, and I've not been to Brighton much, and I just completely fell in love, and I found myself going, I'd like to go there later in the year. I mean, that's changed a little bit, but maybe next year I might go to Brighton and have a look around, because I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, do check out. Well, if you come at the right time, the artists' open houses are definitely recommended. Plus all the creative centres and so on. Now, in terms of the help that you're after, I've written tips, advice, and/or contacts to help you get published. That was the first thing I heard, and it's a nebulous thing. You very kindly and very candidly said you're not really sure how to start. So, insight from those who've been on the journey, maybe some local publishers who might be able to give you some favorable comments, some feedback, maybe some local editors, agents, that's what I'm looking for.
Perfect.
And if they get in touch with you, because one of the requests you have there is a feedback on the stories. And that feedback is also in terms of, is this commercial? Is this a marketable thing? As well as clearly highly enjoyable to you, which I suspect will come over in the books. And I've also written there, because you mentioned it, maybe a little advice on copyright or protection. You know,
Yes,
how you
please.
can disclose to get the feedback that you want and not be afraid that stuff is going to be nicked or abused or stuff like that. And I'm sure that comes up all the time, I am sure. So, you know, there may be people out there who are able to advise. You might want to, they may come up with things like, here is a nice, friendly, non-disclosure agreement you get people to sign before they read and review your stuff. Something like that. That's off the top of my head. Carrie, does that pretty much capture it?
I think so. I'm just going to look at what I wrote, which I didn't refer to at all, but I'm just going to have a quick look. I prepared it all and I didn't look at it once. But I think you've pretty much sussed it out, really. So yeah, I can't find anything wrong with it. Perfect.
Great. I love the fact that you've made notes beforehand and then just gone with your gut. That's actually the way I like to work as well. It's good. All right.
How I did my A-level art exam.
Here we are in front of the famous Ambigo Wall of Ambitions. It's famous in my lunchtime. I'm not sure it's famous in other people's knowledge. And there's your ambition, which I could plant up here on the wall. And I am now asking for comments on behalf of Carrie and actually everyone else who shared their ambitions with us this evening. If you have some tips and advice for Carrie, please get in touch. Maybe some suggestions of stuff that she might not know, something that you found useful or you know someone. Sorry, I'm leaping ahead. The know someone is part of the second type of comment we often get. Genuine actual contacts. If your best buddy's Dalmatian's dog walker's second friend is a publisher, who can give tips to Carrie, please nudge them, get them, tell them about this. They might be able to, give some feedback on the stories, pick up her work, represent it, and you'll both win in that way. It might be really worth it. Likewise, if you have some good tips about the copyright safety or general overviews, and of course, if you're encouraging words, they're always welcome. And also, if you're a budding writer yourself, get in touch because these comments that come in, they will be aimed at Carrie, but they may be useful to you as well. And of course, we're happy to share that because this is a public arena. We're basically looking to support all of ourselves together. Carrie, thank you very much. What I want to do is ask Adam to join us again, because this in our sort of roundup. What do we want to do this time? Do we want to tell people how to contact us and then disappear, or do you want to go somewhere else with our conversation?
Well, I don't know. It might be a bit rude if we said, "Hey, get in touch," and then we just go.
Yeah.
I would like to share the contact that I had in mind for you, Carrie, because last week we did this online event in partnership with something called BelongCon, which is a Belong Conversation. And the founder of that organization, Alice, she has actually had 4 children's books published herself. And she was willing to help other people in that domain. So
I think that's how I got into this, because Alice is a friend of a friend. So I think that's how because my friend tagged me, so hey Carrie, why don't you go for this thing? And he knows Alice, so that's possibly why I've got joined up.
Oh, great. So did you know Alice? Do you know Alice? Or
I've met her once.
Okay, so you didn't know that she was a published author of children's books?
I didn't think I did. Either that or Andy may have mentioned it and I may have forgotten. But but it's useful to know. So if she can help me, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, we'll make the connection and she'll know a lot of the stuff that you need to find out. So yeah, we'll make sure that we can.
Thank you.
So yeah, a couple of 3,000 people will, this video will reach eventually. Is there anything else you want to say to those people before you pop off?
Thank you in advance. I guess. Anything you can do. I mean, I'm so brand new to it. I have no idea what I'm doing. So anything that you suggest or say, it will be useful. So thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Carrie. It's really nice to hear a personal ambition, like Andy says. And we'll be in touch when we make a social media post about your goal to get these 30 stories published.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No, not at all. Thank you, Carrie. Good night. Okay, so there we are. We've reached the end of the Brighton and Hove Hope Exchange for this Friday evening. So let's bring in Julia.
Yes.
For a quick goodbye. So Julia is from the co-op. She's a member pioneer. Unfortunately, she's turned into a black stripe at the moment. But I think you can hear us. Can you hear us, Julia?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly well. I don't know why you can't see me.
Let's dip her out and bring her back in, see if that does the trick. No, okay, Julia, you've turned off the lights, but we can still hear you. I just wondered, Julia, if you wanted to.
I have no idea why that's happened.
Yeah,
well, we can hear you though, so that's good.
We can hear you.
Okay.
So
Well,
you were talking to me earlier about well, we've heard from a couple of people who have got organisations or fledgling organisations, and in your position as member pioneer, you're well positioned to tell us about how they could potentially get support from the co-op using the local community fund. Do you want to tell us about that?
yes, I can do. The local community fund is made up of the 1% of your spend in the co-op. When you swipe your membership card, you have a choice of which charity you can donate that money towards. You go online and make your choice. And in June of this year now, we're slightly behind for obvious reasons. Circumstances beyond all our control. But in June this year, the window opens again for applications for this local community fund. And each area throughout the country, I mean, this is not just in Brighton, but throughout the country, groups together co-op stores, and this 1% builds into a community fund very much locally, and those funds are distributed between various causes and charities who apply for it. So the application process opens in, I think it's June. If you are a cause or charity, I think you have to be fairly well structured. You don't necessarily have to be a charity with a charity number, but you need a structure at least, and a bank account, very important.
Yes.
And you make the application online, and if you're accepted, you then become a recipient of this fund. It runs from November to the following October, so it's a 12-month period, and you are then the recipient of this fund during that 12 months. And I just wanted to encourage anyone who is listening who might be interested to apply for that, to go ahead and do so. I think, as I said, the window opens in June. You can get onto that online through, I think it's Co-op Causes, is the, if you do a Google search on that. It's very worthwhile. It can be worth a reasonable amount of money. I mean, it depends very much on the income of the individual stores. Obviously, some stores have more of an income than others. It varies. But just to give you an idea, in the area that I work with, each of our charities can be in receipt of something like about £8,000 over the 12-month period. So it is worth doing. And that money is received in 2 payments over the course of that 12 months. So just to encourage anyone who is listening who would like to apply for that, that opens in June. So have a look online for that. And my job as member pioneer is just basically to link local community with that fund, and to generally help people to get exposure and some funding, hopefully, because there are various other things I can do to help out as well.
Yes, and you do.
I was going to say you can contact me. I was going to say through Adam. So if anybody wants to make contact, please do through Adam.
Yes, just send us an email or a message on Facebook. Our email address, by the way, is hello@ambigo.co.uk, or you can send us a message through Facebook or leave a comment on YouTube video if that's where you're watching this. Okay, well, thank you so much, Julia, for your contributions this evening. Very valuable, and we'll speak to you a little later on. But thank you to you, and thank you to the co-op as well, because we benefit from the local community fund, and that's why we're able to put on these online events. And without it, who knows where we'd be. So thank you so much, co-op. And in fact, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I'm a member of the co-op, and I like the sound of this local community fund, who should I vote for? You can go on to just do a quick search on your search engine for co-op communities. And if you log into your account as a member, you can actually choose Ambigo to be your cause, so that every time you go to a co-op shop and you use your co-op member card when you're purchasing something, then 1%, or yes, up to 1% of all co-op branded products will come to us. so we can put on more events like these. And hopefully one day, who knows, if the lockdown ends sooner rather than later, we might be able to do some live in-person events. But yeah, who knows? But Andy, we've reached the end. Oh, look, we've gone well over the schedule.
We've gone over. Yes, tisk.
Yeah, no, we're going over because we had a nice long period of not having anybody because of technology getting in the way. But thank you so much, Andy, for doing all you're doing over there. We've got a nice full wall of ambitions, and we'll get promoting those on our social media page.
Can I pretty please just grab some time to say my personal thank you to Julia as well. Julia, thank you very much for joining us. People can get bored of Adam and me, and it's nice to have points of views and insight from others, and you know, that's invaluable. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching as well, and you can watch this whole show back, because as soon as I click end broadcast, it will turn into a regular video that you can watch back. So thank you so much. Join us again next week, where we won't be here on Friday. We'll be here on Thursday the 21st of May. Why are we doing it on a Thursday next week when we normally do it on a Friday? Well, that's
yeah.
Come on, Andy, tell us, Andy.
No, it's a special day. It's a special day. It's the UN Day of Diversity, Dialogue and Development. And as our linking in with this, we want to do a World Day of Ambition. So we'll be here looking at ambitions locally, but we'll be doing extra work sharing this across the globe.
That was nice and grandly delivered. So make sure you're with us Thursday, 21st of May, where we'll be doing this all over again with some different participants, and you can share your ideas, info, contacts, and other support to help them closer to their goals, ideas, and ambitions. Give us a like on Facebook so you can continue to support others and find out more about what we're doing. Bye-bye for now.
See you then.